You do not want a situation where a patient gets treatment done and they're too embarrassed to come back in because maybe they bit into that popcorn kernel and they didn't want to disappoint you. This is a way that they can easily come back and they don't have to worry about the cost affiliated with it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Len Tao. First off, I want to thank the sponsors, both Dental Intel and the Doc Sites, for supporting the podcast. Today's episode is entitled The Power of Protection, How Dental Warranty Can Help Market Your Dental Practice. My guest is Vanessa Vitagliano of Dental Warranty, and Dental Warranty is one of the platinum sponsors of Supercharge Your Dental Practice coming September 29th and 30th in Delray Beach, Florida to you. Hopefully you guys can make it. superchargeyourdentalpractice.com, and you can use the code RAVING to save $100 on registration. So I want to welcome Vanessa to the podcast. I want to first read Vanessa's bio, and then we'll jump into, what dental warranty is, how dental warranty can help your practice. It gives you a competitive edge, how you can market the practice that way. But Vanessa is the Director of Business Development and Marketing at Dental Warranty. Her goal is simple: to bring the dental community together for the common good. She has spent the last decade immersed in various roles within the dental industry, beginning with customer support, followed by sales and marketing, and now business development. This broad range of experience has helped her bridge the gaps between departments and develop effective systems and processes for each. When Vanessa isn't working, she's probably jetting off to a new destination. She has the travel bug and has visited more than 24 countries. Vanessa, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Len. I've actually been to some of those countries with you. We've been to Cuba together. We've been to Jamaica together. We've been, I think, in Bahamas together. Yes,
we have been to three, other than the U.S., 3 countries together. You mentioned them: Cuba, Jamaica, and the Bahamas. Correct. That's awesome. So thanks for joining me today. And thank you, of course, for sponsoring Supercharge Your Dental Practice. I'm excited to have you guys there. Let's first jump in right to what dental warranty is, how it works, and really how it came. You have a kind of a unique story how it was developed, why the product came out and about. So can you touch base on those topics to begin with?
Yeah. So here at Dental Warranty, we partner with practices to provide a 6-year nationwide no-fault protection plan on dental treatment. And so how it works is a patient purchases a protection plan with their dental treatment. And if anything breaks or fails within those 6 years, patient's faults or not, as long as they're keeping up to date with their routine hygiene, they can come back into practice, get the retreatment they need done, no cost to them. And then Dental Warranty will actually compensate the practice for doing that retreatment.
So let's talk about how the company came about. I know that I've heard the story a number of times. I don't know if the listeners and viewers have, and I think it was a really interesting way or how this product was developed in the first place.
It actually was founded from a patient and a dentist in a real life situation. So a patient had a lot of work done to their mouth, and the patient asked, what happens if XYZ happens? And the doctor's like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Well, this patient went to the movie theater and ended up passing out in the movie theater. And when they woke up, their first reaction was like, oh my gosh, how's my teeth? How's my mouth? Because the work was done, not too long prior. They were worried about it. Thank God everything was okay. But went back to that dentist and was like, okay, what if something happened? What if I knock my tooth out? What if I whatever? I spent all this time and money to get the smile I want, but life happens. What happens then? And between the dentist and that patient, they actually came up with Dental Warranty. So in that way, other patients as well as dentists can have that peace of mind of when they're getting their dental treatment done.
I love that story. And things are built out of need. That's how these companies come about. And there was a need for it. And obviously dentists enjoy it. They buy in. They think it's a necessary service as well. I think let's talk about something else. So, and as you know, I don't practice anymore. I retired from clinical dentistry in December, but I owned a practice for close to 15 years. And I had my own internal warranty, and as an example, what we did was for a crown, we gave a 5-year warranty on the crown. And depending on when during that process, the crown needed to be replaced for whatever reason. So if it was year 1, they paid nothing. If it was year 2, it cost them only 20% of the cost. Year 3, it was 40%. Year 4 was 60%. Year 5 was 80%. And then, there was no coverage after that. So when practices have their own internal systems, which they're going to say, well, I warranty everything anyway. What is the need for a service like yours? And I think that's a very common question you may get.
Yes. I mean, well, first of all, even just with what the breakdown you gave, that seems like a lot to remember for you and your team. That seems like a lot of, trying to manage that. One of the benefits of this is the fact is that you have dental warranty as a partner to figure this out for you and your patients. And it's not just on crowns. It would be on any, work that is meant to last 6 years or more. So you're not limited to just one specific type of service because a lot of your patients might be needing things outside of crowns. Also, it is a nationwide protection plan. And so if you have patients that have moved or traveled, or maybe need to see a specialist, it follows the patient. Len, you're in South Florida. You probably get snowbirds in your area quite a bit, where maybe they spend half their time down in Florida, half their time up north. And so even patients like that, let's say back in the summer, they're up north and something happens, they can see their local dentist out in that area and get the retreatment that they need. And then dental warranty will compensate that practice that, is back up north where they're at. So that's something that with some other practices when they're doing their own in-house is not available to them, but also the whole idea of associates as well too. If you have associates at your practice, they come and go. Len, do you really want to eat the cost of maybe that associate is no longer at your practice and they haven't been for a couple of years? And this patient came back in with the work they had done, that's sometimes not the most fun situation as a practice owner to deal with, because at the end of the day, it is a business. It is a dental practice, and you do have to make sure that you're being compensated for the dental treatment you're doing.
And that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, look, I think it's an awesome service. We used it when I was the owner of the practice, and I think it's a valuable service. Can you talk about how you recommend the dental warranty aspect is discussed during treatment presentation? Because I know that it became a little bit of a stickier issue per se, in at least letting the patient know what it costs and basically including it into the conversation that you're having already on fees for the procedure being done.
Yeah. So there's two different ways you can go about it. You can either just include it as part of your presentation in regards to the cost and everything, where you could present to the patient of, this is the treatment that we recommend, and it comes with our 6-year protection plan, and you can bundle it into it, or you can offer it as an option, and the patient can say yes or no to that option. But what's great about it is that even if the patient says no, okay, that's totally fine. But now the expectations are set up front. So now if something happens and the patient had said no, and they come back in expecting you to just give away free treatment, be like, hi, Mr. Patient, remember we had this discussion. You declined the protection plan. We can retreat you here now. But I would recommend this time around purchasing the protection plan. And the ones that have said no and something does happen and they come back in, our practices always say they always end up buying the protection plan that second time around. I mean, same thing with your phone. You might not have gotten the protection plan, but that one time you drop your phone in water or crack the screen, you're like, you know what? Next time we are getting the protection plan, because life does happen. And there's a lot of things that are out of our control. And that's why we're here, at Dental Warranty. You cannot control what your patients do the second they walk out your practice. You cannot control that. But you obviously want to have patients be happy and healthy. And so this is a way of promoting that to make sure that they are coming back in for the care that they need if something does happen, because you do not want a situation where a patient gets treatment done and they're too embarrassed to come back in because maybe they bit into that popcorn kernel and they didn't want to disappoint you. This is a way that they can easily come back in. And they don't have to worry about the cost affiliated with it.
I think that's great. And you think about the different types of warranties that you can purchase. When you get a car, you go into the finance room and they present all these different options when it comes to do you want tire protection? Do you want ding and dent protection and all these things? And a lot of times, look, I don't get those protection plans. I actually, you go to Best Buy. Do you want to add their protection? You go to Apple. You want to add their protection. It's almost like another way for them to, to get more money out of you. And to be honest with you, I've been very fortunate. I think I've only had to use a protection plan once in my entire life on the things I purchased. So I almost feel like, personally, it's like, do I want to spend the extra money? But it's a needed service. It's something that's needed, especially because we know stuff can happen in the mouth very easily. So
even my own coworker, and Brad, he had veneers done, and 2 months later, he was wrestling with his kid, and his kid popped up and hit his front tooth and broke that veneer 2 months in.
Didn't he break that tooth completely? Didn't he fracture it and needed it out?
I don't know the clinical part of what had to happen afterwards. I have the fun photo of him with the tooth missing. But,
right. Well, that's the photo that he used in
yes.
on his body on his little
cardboard cutout. Yes,
a cardboard cutout of him was him without a tooth. That's what I remember.
Right.
So,
but in situations like that, I mean, stuff like that happens, and I know for him at a time, it took a lot for him. And this is even with him, working in dentistry for the last 10 years. It took him a lot as just a patient to finally take that step to get veneers. Like that was a big thing for him. He dragged his feet on it, finally pulled the trigger on it. So then for 2 months later, for that to happen, obviously that's devastating for the patient. It's devastating for the practice at times because, you love your patients. You want to see them happy. It wasn't your fault as a dentist that happened, but as a human, you're going to feel terrible for that situation. You want to rectify it. And even going back to the whole idea of Len, you deal with reviews all the time. Sometimes people just end up giving away free dentistry or bending over backwards because they don't want to get a bad review.
100% so.
And so this is a way that you're able to just make this whole great experience from beginning to end, setting the expectations up with the patient, but then it's also not money loss out of your pocket.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. You brought up the review part of it. And I think it's, I hear all the time how offices feel like they're blackmailed because they have to refund a patient, because something broke. And I think I think if you set this policy up or this system up in your practice, you set the expectations from the very moment you're doing it. I think it really helps in getting patients to understand, what the expectations are in the practice. So I think that's a really good point that you made, is that if they do come back, you know what? You didn't buy the plan, so I can't give it to you for free, but I can definitely fix it for you. And then you can buy the plan for the second one if you want. Remind me, does it cover, like for night guards, if your dog eats it or if you lose it, or just if something breaks?
It does not cover loss, but we do get a lot of photos of appliances in dog poop. Let's just say that. So as long as there is some proof, some piece of it that you can see, that is covered. But yeah, loss we do not cover. Also, failure in the first 90 days, we do not cover.
Got it. So that's on the practice end if something fails, or
if something happens, like let's say they just got the treatment done, they walk out your door and they trip in the parking lot. That from day one is protected.
Got it. So let's talk about the financial aspect to a practice. I know the model has changed a little bit since I used it, so I don't want to preempt it by telling you I know what it is, because I don't. Because when I first joined, it was very different, I think, than it is now. So can you just go over how you present it to the patient from the percentages, and then what percentage the practice gets and what percentage the dental warranty gets?
Yeah, so this protection plan is actually being purchased by the patient. So this is something that the patient's purchasing through the practice. So you definitely can market this as your protection plan that's being backed by dental warranty. And so what it is, it's 10 to 15% of the UCR fee. We want it to be, we encourage you to do it off of the UCR fee, because in that way, if something does happen, you're getting paid back that full UCR fee. And so it gives more value to the protection plan. And so it is 10% is what dental warranty takes. So anything above that, so between that 11 and 15%, the extra 1 to 5% is for the practice to keep in your pocket. And each office can choose what they want to do. I would say on average, it's about 12% is what practices will do, and will have that extra 2% for themselves. But it is a great way to even just generate a little extra revenue to maybe offset other costs in the office. There's a lot of extra COVID costs or even team bonuses, things of that sort, that we know a lot of our offices have used that little extra revenue for that. But then you're also getting the revenue if something happens, you're getting paid back in full. So there's no longer loss with that. And then in order to keep the protection plan active, patients do have to come in for the routine hygiene. So it's keeping them loyal that way and making sure they're coming back in for their hygiene visits. And so even when we had the whole hygiene crisis, if you want to say, during COVID, these would be patients you'd want to reach out to first. They're the most incentivized. And you could, pull a list of, hey, who's everyone that has an active warranty with us, and give them a call, have them come back in and remind them, hey, remember 2 years ago, you got that crown done, that we had that protection plan. We want to make sure that stays active. Let's make sure you can get back in for your hygiene. And it's a great incentive versus just, hey, you want to come in? We miss you here.
Got it. Okay. So 10% to dental warranty, whatever is above that is the practice can keep. Whether it's 15% or 12%, it would be 2 or 5% at that point. Patient buys the plan. Let's say they do it on a denture. I mean, whatever it is. They go on a trip to LA and the denture breaks. Talk to me about the process when a patient goes to another dentist and says, I need this fixed. What's the process? How do they deal with dental warranty? What happens if the patient doesn't remember they have a warranty on it? Because look, if you did it on a crown, they have 12 crowns. How do they know specifically the one they broke has the warranty on it? So can you talk through some of those scenarios that may happen for somebody?
We don't ask for the paperwork up front when treatment is done, but when a claim is being filed, we do ask to see the initial treatment paperwork as well as then what was actually done to make sure it was the right tooth, for example, because they sometimes think that's the one and it wasn't. So we definitely do check that before we are paying out. However, we do pay out claims within 30 days. So it is fast and it is paying the practice, not the patient. If the patient is traveling and, they have to see another dentist, they let that dentist know. And whether it's the practice that reaches out to us or the patient, we then will work with that new office to let them know, yes, this patient has a protection plan. Go ahead and take care of the patient as you would. Let us know, what the cost would be, and then we would pay the practice. When it comes to paying out on our end, we pay up to the original value. So if it was a $1,200 crown, and something happened to that crown and they just need to replace that crown, if the value of that crown to replace it was $1,200, we paid the full $1,200. Maybe it was only $1,000, we paid the $1,000. But let's say something happens to where now the tooth needs to be extracted and an implant put in. Well, obviously the crown does not exist in the mouth anymore. We're not replacing the same procedure, same treatment, but that value is still there of the warranty. So that $1,200 can now be used towards the next steps of treatment. So they actually use towards the extraction and putting that implant in, which a lot of practices love too, because you'll get those patients in their mind, I just had this crown done, despite maybe it was like 4 years prior. I just had this crown done. Now you're telling me I need to get it extracted and put an implant in. Hey, don't worry, Mr. Patient, because you had that protection plan, $1,200 of that is now actually going to go towards the extraction and the implant, and insurance covers X, Y, Z. And so it's actually going to only cost you X amount. And patients are more likely to move forward towards those next steps because of that.
That's good to know. And you mentioned UCR rates, but I mean, if you're a fee-for-service practice and you don't take insurance, you just use the fee that you charge, and that's the fee you use to consider so on just on a $1,500 crown, $150 goes toward dental warranty, whatever over that is what you keep as the practice. I really like what you said, regarding using that money for some other things. So you can incentivize the team and say, okay, all this money that you're collecting will end up going back to the team. So we're making only, if we do 2% and, for every crown we get covered, we're getting $20. Well, at the end of the month, whatever it is, we'll split it upon the team member. So I'm thinking about really various ways that you can use these funds, to help basically, I think, improve patient relations.
Yes, completely. And keeping your team happy. And, it's interesting because, it's what we do. It does tie into case acceptance. And so that is something that you can kind of use that as a way of making sure your team is up to date with best practices and the best ways to go about that. Because obviously, the more cases that they're accepting at the office and accepting the warranty plan, it can really make a difference.
So you have a large number of clients using dental warranty. Do you have any unique ways that the practices have marketed the fact that they have a warranty in there? Because obviously, if you do offer this type of warranty, I think it gives the practice a competitive advantage. So anything unique that you've seen from offices in how they market this to let patients know they actually offer this rather than waiting for them to come into the practice?
Let's be honest, Len, dentistry has gotten to be very competitive. Everyone is looking for a way to stand out. So whether it's, getting a custom website or, custom photos and videos or state-of-the-art office and, real curb appeal, they're always looking for ways to stand out. And by incorporating dental warranty into that, you really can, in many different ways, just trickle it into things that you're already doing. So obviously on your website, talking about it there, but in your services, anytime that you mention, we offer implants at our office, mention, we offer implants at our office and they come with a 6-year protection plan. Just that little extra right there when patients are searching, are looking at potentially multiple offices. It's a way to differentiate of like, oh, wow, they're offering a protection plan with theirs and theirs aren't. There was a study that was shown that patients are 47% more likely to choose a practice that offers a protection plan than not. And with times being in the uncertain times that it has been for the last couple of years, patients are looking for that peace of mind. There's a lot more of those questions like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if I lose my job? What if, this is a way that for those patients who are looking for that peace of mind, they're looking for that. So including on your website, social media has been, I think, becoming a bigger and bigger presence for dental practices the last couple of years, whether it's through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And so people are always looking for different ways to market that or just content. What do we talk about? This is something that you can talk about. Go on Facebook Live and talk about how you offer the protection plan to your patients that offer this extra value and peace of mind. Create a post talking about it. If you have direct mailers, and maybe you're sending out direct mailers talking about a specific service or just maybe a new patient special, whatever it may be, mention it on there. It's a value add, include it on there. If you have welcome folders, maybe that you give to new patients that just talks more about the practice, the services you offer, include something in there talking about, with our treatment here, we do offer a 6-year protection plan. So there's all these different ways of things that practices are already communicating with their patients or trying to stand out, that adding that little extra touch can really go a far way, especially in a competitive marketplace.
Got it. Obviously, when I first heard about this, you were not part of the company. And to me, I've always looked at unique things to bring into the practice. I thought it was a no-brainer. And I think when we were last year in Jamaica at an Initiative Homes event, I think I said to you, why isn't everybody signing up for this? It's like the biggest no-brainer in dentistry. Even though you have so many different companies coming at you, sign up for us, sign up for us, sign up for us. This is just a no-brainer because it only adds value to what you're doing, and it really doesn't cost you anything unless you actually have someone that actually buys it, and they're paying for the cost. So it literally costs the practice $0 to incorporate this into their practice. So what would be a reason why you think a practice would not be a good fit for dental warranty, number one? Or what reasons have you heard that someone says this is just not for me? I'm curious because I don't know of any.
Yeah, no, all good. Well, I would say in general, like ortho and, pediatrics, they do a lot of temporary work. Their teeth eventually are going to fall out. So those types of practices that maybe do a bit more of those types of services, obviously would not be a good fit for us. I would say, I think some of the pushback, and it's not much pushback. I think just it's a new idea. It's a new concept. We're really the only ones that do what we do. And I think even for myself with being in dentistry for so long, sometimes new things are a bit scary for dentists, I feel like, and for their teams. And so I think that is a bit more of it than anything else. It's a new concept and trying to wrap their head around that. But it is interesting because when dentists do actually reflect on the fact of like, would I purchase a protection plan? Would I not? It's so funny because a lot of them will be like, well, on my phone, of course I would. Why wouldn't I get Apple Care? And it's like, well, it's the same kind of idea, but with your teeth. And I always tell them too, where I've actually got LASIK eye surgery done, and it came with a 10-year warranty. As long as I went to my optometrist once a year, if my eyes changed at all, free touch-ups. At the time, Len, I was like, this is $4,000. Yes, 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 yes. Because that was my biggest fear is if my eyes change, it's not their fault. It's not my fault. As a patient, I was like, they better not change because we're going back to glasses. Granted, I'm wearing glasses right now. If anyone's seen the video, these are the blue glasses. So my prescription has not changed, but it was such a great peace of mind. And so it is interesting. I feel like once they're able to kind of put themselves in a patient's shoes to see what that is like, I think they tend to understand it a lot more.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Like I said, I don't see a reason why a practice wouldn't incorporate this as an option to their patients. Their patients are only going to be more loyal. It gives you a competitive advantage. It makes you stand out from your competition. I don't see a reason why. That's why I was saying this is like one of those biggest no-brainers. Everybody should implement it in their practice, which is why I was, like I said, what is the reason why? And in fact, based on what you said, you would think, parents, you think would warranty the retainers that they get made at the orthodontist, because retainers, they break them, they lose them. Not that it's covered with loss, but dogs eat them. You would think that would actually be a decent fit for you. I'm not so sure about pediatric offices, but definitely orthodontists, I think would have you say you're not going to do it on the braces per se, but you can do it. Hey, you're getting your retainers. We do offer a warranty on this. This is what it covers. I think that's a perfect fit for you guys.
Oh, for sure. But I think it comes down to, as you know, Len, with any systems in a dental practice, being consistent is what really makes it work. And so when it's a one-off type of service, so it's like, oh, remember that when we have retainers offer this, practices just don't have as much of a success with it because they'll just forget that it even exists. So the key to the success with dental warranty is to consistently offer it to your patients. And whether you think the patient wants it or not, offer it. Don't assume. You never know whether they value this or not. And so we always tell them, be consistent, offer it every time. And if a patient says no, okay, cool. No big deal. And we actually have practices now that will make sure it's notated that they said no to the warranty. So that way, if something happens, they could reference back to it and be like, we offered it to you, you declined it. And so you agreed that if something happened, you'd be paying in full.
So one last question from my end, and I think it kind of goes back to some of the things we talked about, but I want to reiterate. Do you recommend that practices include it in the price and say this is included, or do you say this is an option that we have? What do you find more effective? Give the price of the procedure and then give them an option, or just include in the price and they can decline it? What do you think is more effective?
Including it, obviously, and obviously you will see a line item on there, and so they might question it. But including it in there, same thing with I drive a Hyundai. It comes with a warranty. My eyes come with a warranty. They didn't charge me extra for it. I didn't question it. I was more just like, that sounds fantastic. Something happens, I'm covered. That's good. And so including it in there, I think it makes it a little bit of an easier conversation. But either way, these patients are asking these questions. When you're presenting treatment, they are asking, how long is this going to last? Well, what happens if? And so this just gives you an easy segue of, well, actually, we have a program set in place that would be able to help you with this. Would you like the protection plan?
Got it. So before we get your contact information about information on how to learn more about dental warranty, I want to switch directions here. I want to cover, which is our fun part of the segment, just this Q&A. They are all business related questions. So I'm going to ask you these questions, Vanessa. Just answer them as quickly as you can. You don't need to do long, drawn out answers. Okay. So what one skill or trait do you feel is imperative to be successful?
Being open-minded.
If you were to write a book about yourself, what would you name it?
Dang. I wish I had answered that one. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know.
It's one of the toughest questions I ask. People have a hard time doing that.
That's a hard one. I feel like it would have to be a one word, like it's just a strong one word. Don't know what it is, but I feel like just one strong one word.
Okay. What book should you go back and reread as it has made a great impact on you the first time?
I've been reading the Harvard Business Review books, and I've been doing the whole series, and I definitely would love to go back and do another deep dive into that. So kind of the series of the Harvard Business Review. Okay.
What eats up most of your time that you'd like to change?
Cleaning.
Okay. What have you learned from some of the most successful people you know?
Work hard, play hard.
What methods have you used to maintain focus?
Blocking out time to focus on things I know to be focused on, to cut out the distractions.
Okay. Do you make a to-do list? Do you do it every day, every week? When do you do it?
Oh, every day. Every day, all day, every day.
Who is the one person you love to have as a mentor?
Tony Robbins.
Okay. What is a subscription that you can never live without?
BarkBox. Yeah, I have a dog, and I get probably more excited than my own dog getting the BarkBoxes in.
Okay. What has been your most satisfying moment in dentistry?
I think it has to be, actually delivering WOW meeting, I don't know how many years ago. I think it was like the second time in Jamaica. And I was able to get all of our clients at the company I was at the time on stage and be able to see that visual of how much we've grown in such a little amount of time, seeing all of our clients on stage and just like reflect on that, it definitely brought a tear to my eye.
Okay. What profession do you think is the most undervalued today?
I would say the trades in general, just any type of trade. Yeah.
And then last question, if you could take a class to learn anything you want, what would it be?
Learning to fly plane.
Learning to fly. All right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, Vanessa, how can people learn more about dental warranty? How can they sign up? Give all the information that you need to help promote dental warranty.
Yeah. So we actually have a special landing page for you, Len. And so if you can go to go.dentalwarrantycorp, that's corp.com/TAU. So TAU. You can go there. You'll get special pricing there. Typically it's $750 one-time startup fee. For practices, we're actually taking $500 off. So you can go there, you can schedule time with our team, learn more. At the very least, talk to our team, see if it's a good fit for you and your patients. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but check it out for yourself.
And if somebody had a question for you, is there a way to reach out to you?
I'm on social media. So you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. My name is Vanessa Vitagliano. There's not many of us out there. So you can find me there as well.
Perfect. Well, this was a lot of fun, Vanessa. Thank you for sharing your expertise in this space and talking about dental warranty. Guys, if you like the episode, please let your colleagues know. If you think dental warranty would be a good fit for them, please let them know to check out this episode as well. Review us, like us, share it, do whatever you can to help promote the episode. Once again, I want to thank our sponsors, both Dental Intel and the Doc Sites, for their support. And don't forget about my seminar or my event, Supercharge Your Dental Practice, September 29th and 30th. First day is the business side, the marketing side of dentistry. The second day is the business side of dentistry, featuring 18 speakers, 14 CE, in a beautiful location on the beaches of Delray Beach, Florida, September 29th and 30th. If you want to attend, go to superchargeyourdentalpractice.com. Use the code RAVING, as in raving patients, but the code is RAVING, to save $100 off the early bird pricing. Vanessa, thank you so much for joining me. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and we'll talk to everyone soon.